Hi, good afternoon. My name is Timea Kennedy. I am an HR consultant with BBSI, and today I will be presenting on Colorado's paid medical insurance program and the secure savings program. So it's called the Family and then the Secure Savings Program. A little bit about me. Like I said, I am with BBSI, Barrett Business Services. We are a business consulting company out of Colorado Springs. I am a human resources professional with over 20 years of experience. Last 10 years I spent in healthcare, and I actually worked and lived in Pueblo, Colorado. I was with Centura Health St. Mary Corvin Medical Center, and then also in Colorado Springs with Diversus Health. So that is my last 10 years, but I started out my career in the military, served as an HR officer for 6 years, and then later on transitioned to civilian life, and then worked through the ranks of human resources. As far as my education, my bachelor's degree is in human resources management. I do have a master's degree in business administration and several HR certifications. I am currently attending Tulane University's law school's employment and labor law program. Like I said, but I'm not an attorney. I am an HR professional. So we have a lot to cover today, so I will jump right in. So today we will be talking about what is the Family Medical Leave Insurance Program. We'll talk about the timeline, as it's extremely important to talk about the timeline because the deadline is approaching. It's actually January 1st for both of these programs, so you need to know what to do as far as the next steps. We will talk about the funding, how to calculate premiums, the private plans rulemaking, and then with the Colorado Savings Program, we'll talk about the current retirement crisis and then also key trends. And we'll look at some state-sponsored programs and then also the employer-sponsored plans, and then some penalties if you don't enroll your company into these programs. And at the end, I will take some questions. So what I would like to do is just run through the presentation first. Like I said, first I will talk about the Family, and then the second program, the Colorado Secure Savings Program, will be next, and then we'll be taking questions. So I will go back and then look at the chat, and then we'll try to answer all of your questions later down. So what is the Family? It's important to remember that voters voted this program in 2022. So it's a social insurance program that will be helping your employees provide an income if they have a medical need. So some of you might be familiar with the Federal Medical Leave Act called FMLA. If you qualify, or maybe in your past you work for employers and your employer qualified for FMLA. So it's a similar program, however, it's a little bit more rich, it's a little bit more robust here in Colorado. The deductions will start on January 1st of 2023. So it's important that you will register as a business owner with the state, and we will talk about those next steps. But as I mentioned, it's a social insurance program where both employers and then employees will be contributing to a fund that will eventually pay out the benefits. The premiums are set at 0.9%. And the way it works, we will look at the next slide, but the way it works is that the employer will be paying half of that, so 0.45%, and then the employee's wage will be also deducted at a 0.45%. This insurance program and the deductions will be collected similarly to state unemployment tax. So you will be, as a business owner, you will be paying into quarterly. I included a quick timeline here. Q4 of 2022, the website launched, and there is the page in here. Hopefully you can see it. It's family.colorado.gov. You need to complete registration in Q1 of 2023 as soon as possible. If you can do it in December, it's even better. There's an employer website that you will need to complete the registration. And then as of January 1st, 2023, employers will begin payroll deductions for the premiums. So you will need to start deducting these premiums from your employee's paycheck. In April of next year, First quarter premiums and payments and wage reports are due to the state. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. Like I said, it's really similar to the unemployment tax. So it will be deducted, and then you will need to send it into the state. And then on January 1st, 2024, covered workers, covered employees will begin submitting claims for this family medical leave insurance. So the way it works is that in 2023, everyone is paying in, right? Employers and then employees, there's a deduction from their paychecks, and you as an employer, if you qualify for this program, you will be paying into it, and then your employees will start using this benefit in 2024, January 1st. Okay, so let's talk about your employees. When are they covered to use this family leave? So as I mentioned before, Family and Medical Leave Act is really similar to this program. However, it's a little bit more robust, a little bit more rich. So if your employee is eligible for this leave and there are certain stipulations, they will be able to take 12 to 16 weeks of paid leave. First one is to manage their own serious health conditions. So if they have a health condition that they qualify for this medical leave, and as I mentioned, serious health condition. So they would have to qualify under the ADA, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act. So let's say if someone has cancer and they need cancer treatment, they will definitely qualify for this program. Also, they will qualify if they have a family member with a serious health condition that will need to take time off. Then they can take this time off and then receive paid leave. They can take the time off to care for a new baby, a new child. It could be either through birth, foster placement, or adoption. Also to make arrangement for family deployment. So if your employee or maybe a family member, spouse of your employee is in the military and they need to make arrangements prior to a deployment, they can take the family leave and get paid for it. Also to address immediate safety needs in an impact of domestic violence or sexual assaults. If they are in this unfortunate situation, they will be able to take time off. FMLA defines family member a little bit differently than the Colorado family. So let's talk about that. So what the law says basically is an individual's family member will include those individuals whom the covered individual has a significant personal bond. And so let's talk about that significant personal bond because, like I said, it's really different what the FMLA says. So in determining this, the division will look at the circumstances surrounding this relationship with the employee. So if they have shared financial responsibility, so this could be a shared lease. If they're renting an apartment together, they signed a lease together, or they own a real estate property, or potentially paying bills together, just paying the electric bill, or they provided the other person as a beneficiary designation, then they will be eligible to take time off for this individual. Also, if they designated the person as an emergency contact, so even though they are not related, they are best friends, but the person is an emergency contact for that employee, then this person will be able to take time off for that person's medical condition. So here is the premium responsibility under Proposition 118. So if you have 9 or fewer employees, and this is important to remember, so if you have 9 or fewer employees, the employee will be paying the premium 100%. If you have 10 or more employees, then it will be a shared responsibility. So as I mentioned, 0.45% will be coming out of the employee's paycheck, and then you as an employer, you will be paying 0.45% as well. So if you have 10 or more employees, if you're self-employed and you don't have any employees, then you will be paying the 100% of the employee premium. If there's a local government that is deciding to participate, then the employee will be paying the premium. So 10 is the important number to remember for your employees. If you have 9 or fewer employees, employees will be paying the premiums. You have no financial responsibility. But if you have more than 10 employees, then you will be paying half of that. Now, if next year, you currently, let's say you have 8 employees, but then next year you're planning to hire 2 or 3 more employees, and you will be reaching that number 10, then my recommendation is that you immediately start enrolling into this program and start paying the premiums for your employees, because those numbers now changing, right? So you have more than 10 employees. So make sure that you do not wait until the end of the year to enroll. Then you need to enroll immediately as soon as you reach number 10. All right, so let's look at the weekly deductions. So I put a couple of examples in here. The first example is if an employee making $500 weekly, so that's about $22,000 annual salary. So that person's weekly deduction is $2.25, which will result in a weekly benefit of $450 for the employee. As you see, they will be paid at 90% of their weekly wage, which is pretty high. So considering how much they make, $500 a week, they will get paid at 90% of their weekly wage for this benefit. And just remember, they can take 12 to 16 weeks off. So during that time, if they are approved for this benefit, they will be receiving 90% of their paychecks. There's a maximum annual benefit of $5,400. Now let's look at someone, maybe your executives or yourself, if you're making between $120,000 or $150,000, that is equaling to a $3,000 weekly wage. The deduction will be $13.50. However, if you look at the percentage of the weekly wage this person will be receiving is at 37%. So the less your employees make, the more money they will be receiving as a percentage of their weekly wage or maximum annual benefit for this program. The more money your employees or yourself you're making, if you are employed by your own company on W-2 basis, then your percent of weekly wage will be 37%, okay? All right, so employee count. How do they count employees, numbers of employees? We talked about the number 10, the magic number 10 employees or more for this program, because that's when it becomes your liability to pay half of this program for your employees. Prior to that, they are just deducting from the employee's paycheck. So the total number of employees will be looked at during the previous year's payroll for 20 or more calendar weeks. So for 2024, they will be looking at 2023, the year of 2023. If you have 20 or more, or if you have, so the number of employees, that worked during the last 20 work weeks in the preceding calendar year. So for 2023, they will be looking at your 2022 year. And it's a calendar year, so it doesn't matter what your fiscal year is for your own company. The state is looking at the calendar year from January to December. So if an employer has 10 or more employees who work during 20 or more weeks in 2022, then the employer is required to pay the employer's share of the premium for all 4 quarters in 2023. So just remember, it's always a look back for the previous year, and they're going to look at 20 or more calendar work weeks. All right, so employees on leave must be counted to this number. So if you have an employee who went out on unpaid leave, if you have a policy that allows unpaid leave or sabbatical, or maybe they took time off for sick leave, they had a baby, they took maternity leave, or they were on other leaves of absence, such as disciplinary action, maybe you suspended them for a couple of weeks, they didn't work. It doesn't matter, they must be counted into active employment numbers during that year. All right, the other magic number is $2,500. So at any time in Colorado, if an employee earned $2,500, so that will include part-time employment, temporary employment, they will be entitled to this benefit. So let me give you an example. So let's say you hired your neighbor's kid to help you out during the summer, or maybe you had an intern or a part-time employee who's only working on Mondays of the week, and they earned at least $2,500 during the year, then yes, they will be eligible for this benefit. It can also come from a combination of employers. So maybe they worked for you just a few months last year or this year, and then they moved on, and then they worked in Walmart or Walgreens or any other places. It doesn't matter. The $2,500 could come from a combination of employers. Employees will be eligible for this benefit on day number 1. Okay, if you recall, with the Federal Medical Leave Act, there is a waiting period, which depends on the number of hours that they worked, and then it's also usually at 12 months of employment. With this program in Colorado, it's completely different. Like I said, it's much richer because the employee will be eligible for this benefit on day number 1. So essentially, you could have an employee who starts, a brand new employee, you hire this employee, and then the next day in 2024, they could potentially apply for this family leave and take time off and get paid, and that employee only works for you for a day. So that is a possible scenario. They will be applying, so your employees will be applying directly with the state website for this benefit. It will take a couple of days to get approved or denied. It's really similar to unemployment benefits, right? So the division will make a determination whether they are approved or denied, and then they will be notifying the employee, and then also they will be notifying you as an employer, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, what to do in certain situations. So employees should notify employers if they have a need for this temporary leave. However, it's really not included in this statute. So what happens, well, actually my recommendation would be if you have an employer handbook or if you have policies specifically for notifying the employer of absences, that's something you need to look at for 2024 when the leave will start, so that your employees will give you an advance notice. The state is telling us that it will take about 5 days for the employee to receive an approval or denial of the benefits. And then, of course, they can always go back and then submit it again. But they're telling us it's 5 days to receive an approval. So at least what you should do as an employer is that you put it into your employee handbook or your policies that as soon as there is a foreseeable need for a medical leave, your employee should notify you of this need, and then that they submitted a leave with the state. So at least you have a couple of days advance notice that your employee potentially will be leaving for 18 weeks. So these are the next steps. I also have a couple of printed documents here. So I think what I will do is I will send the links out, and then you can go online and then download these forms that I have here. But basically, we will talk about next step, and this is a document that I'm showing. It's a black and white document. Like I said, I will email it to you. But this one talks about the next steps. So by January 1st, 2023, you need to talk to your payroll and benefits administrator if you have one. So if you work with ADP or a similar company, then you need to notify them and talk to them about how these deductions will take place from your employee's paycheck. The other important item that you should do is notify your employees and educate them on this program that is coming out in January. You can go on the Department of Labor's website and then print out some of these flyers. There are also fact sheets. I don't know if you can see it if you're on the Zoom call, but you can go online and print these and then make sure that you put them in your break rooms, right? So that your employees are educated on this program that it's coming out. Like I said, the employee notification is available on the website to download. And then on January 1st, 2023, so you have a little bit, 1 day and a month, payroll deductions will begin. So you need to register your business on the website that is provided, which is family.colorado.gov. So family.colorado.gov. You need to go on that website and then register your business. Regardless of how many employees you have, you need to register your business. And then in April of 2023, by the end of April, the first premium payments and wage report is due to the family division here in Colorado, so you will need to submit that. There's a 30-day grace period that the state is providing for the first time in April for the first premiums, so that's a good thing. I don't know if they will continue doing that, but for the first time, they will be providing a 30 days grace period. And then as of January 1st, 2024, your employees will be able to access the benefits, and they can start taking the time off and getting paid for it. It's important to know that it's not going to, hit your finances. So basically, they're deducting the 0.45% from your employee's paycheck. But then also, if you have more than 10 employees, then you're paying into this state fund, and then the payment is coming from the state. So once you're paid in and your employees are paying into it, you don't need to worry about additional payments that you will have to pay for it. As long as you pay the 0.45%, if you have more than 10 employees, that should be it. The state is actually handling, it's an insurance program, so the state will be using all the funds and then paying your employees directly, okay? So that's something to remember. So make sure that you register with the family division and be ready to collect those premiums as of January 1st of 2024. So one thing to remember is if you have a payroll that is, if you pay weekly, I have some clients that are paying weekly. And the payroll is sort of falling, so they run payroll from Monday to Friday, but then, January 1st is in between, and I didn't look at the calendar, so I don't know which day is January 1st. But you need to remember that could be the first payroll when you're paying into this, and you need to start deducting the premiums from your employees, because January 1st is falling on, I think it's a Tuesday next year. All right, couple of more information on the family. There is an email address, hopefully you can see it here. Feel free to email them. There's also a website, there's just a lot of good information. The state is really posting new information every single day. I follow it, so if you have questions, I will provide my information. Feel free to reach out to me. There is a website, you can go there. And for the family program, they also have a director, and so you can reach out to that person, and then he should be able to help you with that, okay? So that is the Family Medical Leave Insurance Program that is coming out on January 1st in Colorado. Like I said, I have a couple of flyers here, so we'll be sending out those or send you the links. So make sure that you print those out, and then one of them is called Administrator Fact Sheet. You as an employer, you should definitely read this, because this one has the employer steps, how to be prepared for this program, okay? All right, so I will jump to the Colorado Secure Savings Program presentation, and then I will be able to take questions after that, okay? So Colorado Secure Savings Program, this is the second program that is coming out on January 1st that you need to know about as an employer. So a little bit of background. There's a retirement crisis going on in the United States. There are 67 million Americans who currently do not have access to retirement benefits. Did you know that the average American has less than $50,000 saved for retirement? Did you know that only 8.4% of restaurants offer a retirement savings plan for their employees? So there's definitely a retirement crisis going on. So Colorado decided that they need to do something about it, and they also realized that the financial stress has increased since the start of the pandemic, and now state legislation is requiring employers to act. So that's how we ended up having this Colorado Secure Savings Program. So these are the requirements. So Colorado Secure Savings Program is basically a mandatory retirement program for your employees, and we'll share more information. But it applies to companies who have been in business for 2 years or longer and have at least 5 or more employees. So if you haven't been in business for 2 years or longer and you have less than 5 employees, then you don't need to enroll into this program. Again, magic number, 2 years or longer, and then have 5 or more employees. This is a benefit program for private sector workers who do not have access to workplace retirement savings plan. So if you provide a private savings plan, so that would be a 401k program either from your company, or it's really similar to if you work for larger organization and larger organizations and they offered 401k. If you have a 401k in place, then you do not need to worry about the Colorado Secure Savings Program. You should be good to go on that one. And the program has no employer fee or financial responsibility. So basically, this is a deduction from your employees' wages, and then it's going into a state fund, and then eventually when they retire, then they will have these funds, okay? So if you have a 401k plan, you may have an annual fee that you need to pay as an employer, or a sign-up fee or anything like that. With this one, the Colorado Secure Savings Program, there is not a financial responsibility for the employer. Okay, so the age requirement for participation is 18. Although the state rulemakers in Colorado are looking into extending this benefit to younger workers, so 16 and 17, and we are learning more about that, so more to come on that. So employers that are headquartered in another state but have Colorado-based employees will be required to participate in this benefit and comply with the program, and that includes nonprofit organizations and also religious organizations. So even though that if, let's say, you have another company in the state of Florida, but then you have Colorado-based employees, you will be required to comply, okay? Westwell and BNI Mellon are the third-party administrators of the plan. I am personally not familiar with them, but they will be administering this retirement program. Now, this is an important information. You may want to share this with your employees, that employees are automatically enrolled at a contribution rate of 5% of their gross pay. So that's a pretty high number. Your employees, here comes January 1st, they will be asking you, hey, what are you deducting? What is this Colorado Secure Savings that you're deducting at a 5%? Make sure that you educate them that is a state retirement program that is mandatory. Okay. Also, they will be asking you about the family. What else are you deducting from my paycheck at 0.45%? So you need to let them know you actually voted this in 2022. And so that is the family. And now I'm also deducting 5% of your gross pay for the Colorado Secure Savings Program. Now, employees will be able to change the deduction later down the road. But at first, they will be enrolled at a 5%. And then I think literally a few weeks later, they can log into the website and they can change it back to a lower amount if they decide to do so, but not at a higher rate. So 5% is the top, but they will be able to change it down to, I think, 1% if that's what they want to do. All right, on the next slide, I have a comparison if you enroll into the state-sponsored versus employer-sponsored savings program. So let's talk about the state-sponsored program first. This is a general Roth IRA, basically, if you're familiar with the Roth IRAs. Now, the investment options will be chosen by the state. So if you ever had a 401k, or if you currently have a 401k, then you know that you can log into the website, and then investment options will be available, and then you can just play with it and change it every single day if you want to. So with the state-sponsored benefit program, the investment options will be chosen by the state. There's an annual salary deferral limit, which is at $5,000, and the catch-up contribution for your employees that are older than 50 will be $1,000. So it's a maximum of $6,000 deduction. Now, no employer contribution matching allowed. So many employers, if they have a 401k program, they do a matching at the end of the year typically based on their financial performance, if they can afford it, and they provide a matching. That's not the case with the state-sponsored program. So employees are paying into it. You as an employer, you really don't, provide a contribution. And so that will be the amount of money that they will be receiving when they retire. Okay. With the employer-sponsored savings program, so if you decide to do a 401k program instead of the state-sponsored program, federal tax credits will be available to you because you're offering a 401k program. So it's important to remember, you as a business owner, that you will be receiving credit for that. Also, you will see a wide range of investment options, right, for the 401k, so you can make those changes. The annual salary deferral limit is $20,500 this year. So that number is changing every single year, but this year is $20,500. And there's a catch-up contribution of $7,000 this year for participants that are 50 or older. So if you add that up, that's $27,500 they can put into retirement. And that is without your match. So if you decide to do an employer match, from my past employers, they typically, they match me at a 4%, so you add that up. The employer-sponsored savings program allows a higher match or a higher deferral limit than the state-sponsored program. But it is up to you what you decide, as long as you're compliant. So one more thing to remember, if you have a 401k program offered for your company, but none of your employees are participating, that is completely fine, as long as you're compliant. So you are compliant if you provide a program. It doesn't mean they have to participate. But with the state-sponsored program, they have to participate. It's a mandatory deduction. So like I said, it's coming out at 5% in January. All right, there are some penalties for the Colorado Secure Savings Program. The state will be monitoring businesses for compliance, so make sure that you're compliant. I had several clients, employers reaching out to me, hey, what is the fine if I decide not to participate? My employees don't want to do this. What do you recommend that I do? So the fine is $100 per eligible employee per year. You may think it's not a large amount, but I'm telling you, the state will be monitoring this program, and they will be coming down on businesses for compliance. Now, enforcement of the fines will begin 1 year after the program is established, or 1 year after the employer is scheduled to enter the program. So like I said, it goes back to how long you've been in business, 2 years or more. So maybe you started your business a year and a half ago. 6 months from now, you will have to comply based on the number of employees. Then you need to enroll to the state program if you do not provide a private 401k option, okay? And so thank you so much. Those are my slides. And so lots of information coming down from the state on both of these programs. So my recommendation is that you monitor those websites. You sign up and then you start monitoring them, because literally I receive emails every single day from the state, adding some information or adding a different flyer or poster, or some additional financial information that you need to know for your employees. I will leave a couple of my business cards here, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I will be happy to assist you. And if you have any questions, I don't know if I can see the questions here, but let me just check. I will be happy to answer questions. Okay. So far, I don't see any questions. Could you share your business card here? That was the question. Yes, absolutely. Like I said, I am from BBSI, an HR consultant. And so I work in Colorado Springs. I come to Pueblo a lot. Like I said, I lived and worked in Pueblo for 10 years. And so I'm happy to help the community. And that is also the reason why I wanted to do this presentation, because there's a tight timeline here that you as an employer, you need to act on these programs immediately, because you only have 1 month left. So yes, I will be sharing. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. There is my email address being shared. Perfect. So employees are not, you know, as long as they, once they start paying into the program in 2023, then they will be eligible for this program. So like I said, if they made at least $2,500 throughout the year, and that could come from several different employers, then they will be eligible for this program. Now you, as an employer, if you decide to go with a private plan, and I have not seen any, the state told us that these private plans will be coming out in the second or the third quarter of 2023, so I will be monitoring those. You need to make sure, so if you decide not to go with the state-sponsored program or insurance program, you can go with a private program, but it has to be as rich as the state program. So if you remember, I'm going to go back to this slide here, what the benefits are for your employees, you need to provide at least the same benefits. I'm sure there are insurance companies that will be offering some great private plans. So if that is your preference as an employer, then you do not need to participate in this program. What will happen is that you still need to enroll and start deducting this as of January 1st. But if you enroll into a private plan, let's say in next September, then you will be receiving a credit for the previous 9 months that you paid into it, right? But again, it has to be as rich as this benefit program. So if you have an employee who's making about $20,000, you will have to pay, or your insurance plan, private insurance plan, will have to pay 90% of that employee's wage as long as they are out on this medical leave. So long story short, but hopefully I answered your question. That was Jennifer. So Jennifer, let me know if I answered your question. Donna, do we deduct the family fee from gross pay or net pay? So yes, it's coming out of their paycheck gross. So, and do we need to deduct family from profit sharing? So by profit sharing, do you mean like a bonus program? So Donna, if you could just answer that question. I am assuming, okay, yes. So profit sharing meaning a bonus. So yes, you will be deducting whatever that employee's wages at the end of the year, you know, gross pay, you will be deducting from all of that. That is correct. All right, I will wait a little bit in case you have any questions. Yes, there's a question in the room.
Yeah, what is the time frame for employers to act on this now? Is it just until the end of the year before they can start getting fined?
Well, fine, you know, it's the state, so we'll see how long it will take them to really start monitoring it. But yes, absolutely, like I said, it's really important that you act on it now with the family, because you need to start deducting on January 1st for both programs. So you really have 30 days to register with these programs. So it's important that you go on those websites and register your business. And you will have the links, so you will be able to do that. So timeline is 31 days? Yes, 31 days. All right, I don't see any other questions. You have my email address, so feel free to reach out to me directly, and I will be happy to assist you. Thank you so much for participating. I really appreciate it. And just send me an email if you have any questions. Thank you, Aubrey. All right, bye.